Previously on Movie the Needle.
I am ambivalent.
Okay, well, I really like this movie.
And of course, Emily Blunt.
Okay, let's move on to the plot as we continue our race against time to get under the runtime of the film, which we are definitely not going to do.
Yeah, fail.
Okay, so I'm going to start off. Continuing with saying that we're on a rush and want to get under the runtime of the film with another sidebar. So, the publishers have Jesse arriving 2 hours before the flight time. What's your strategy for flights?
Seems like bullshit, that doesn't it? I mean, he even referenced this in the thing. Oh, they have you get in to the airport like 2 hours before.
Yeah.
That's loads of time. And I'm like, oh, fucking hell. No, if it says 2, I'm 3. If it says 3, I'm 4. Yeah.
What about...
I mean, that's also, I should caveat this. I mean, I do stress about that stuff, genuinely. I also quite like being in an airport because there's no time zone in an airport, is there?
You mean you can drink?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly
See, I'm not a big, because I tend to try and fly, early morning. I'm not a big,
me
drinker.
Too. 3 a.m. Guinness, fucking lovely, thank you.
Oh, I don't know, I struggle. Nice coffee, yeah. Bacon sandwich, lovely. Fine, but I can't really get on the biff. I wasn't sure where you were on the, because, we obviously live near a quite small airport that we kind of, it's quite fairly predictable in terms of, you don't have to go very far to get on.
Do you know what, right?
To the thing, so.
The one time I didn't give myself some extra time between what they say, massive delays at security. We made the flight.
But it was a bit stressy.
There was no time to do anything. We were literally straight from thing to thing to thing. All right, we're going. The rest of it was just spent in queues. So ever since then, no. And I have nearly missed a few flights in my time.
I thought you were going to say after the Philadelphia running through the airport.
We did miss that flight, yeah. So I have actually missed a flight in my time. That wasn't our fault.
That was just a delayed connection.
Now, the other 2 flights I nearly missed in my time were my fault. Ironically, didn't miss those. So I am, no.
The lesson learned from our missed connection was, though, just never run for a plane.
Yeah, it's pointless.
No.
Yeah.
It's literally what were we thinking.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even let us for a bit. Why don't you come here and stand here for a bit?
Let's go through these 3 levels of security first. I've just come off a plane.
Fucking ridiculous. Anyway, yeah. So no. I get there early and enjoy yourself.
Brilliant. So, back to the film, movie, whatever we want to call it. So, what do you think to the length of time that was left between the first film and this one? 9 years. What's your thoughts on 9 years?
Honestly, I don't really have any thoughts on that.
Right, fine. So I feel
like that was going somewhere. Maybe you do. Perhaps.
Well, I do. Yes, yeah, I do. I thought this might have been something that you thought about, but it's fine.
No.
Well, I think 9 years is it's a really good amount of time, right? Because it's a really long time when you're 23 to when you're 32.
Yeah.
That 9 years is that's a huge amount of time, right? In terms of a proportion of your life, but also how long you've been an adult for. It's pretty much the whole thing, right? You're into 3/4 of your adult life. Don't check that maths. So I thought actually having that amount of time and being able for this film to quickly, as we've already said, quickly explore the changes that happen between when you're 23 and when you're 31, 32. I thought that was just like a genius move. I don't know how intentional it was and how much it was just, okay, we're finally ready to make this movie now, and it's 9 years.
Problems
but I thought that amount of time is actually, rather than it being 2 years or 3 years or whatever, I think in that space of time, they're not going to have changed too much. Not that much is really going to have happened, really. 9 years, though, so much can happen. So I found that a really interesting, whether it's a decision, amount of time to have.
Right. I could be wrong. This happened before.
That one time.
I could be wrong. My entire problem with this film is, for me, I don't know what this installment does for the story. Right. Because for me, it doesn't really feel like it advances it. And I say it could be wrong, because maybe like I said at the start, for me, this is not necessarily about Jesse and Celine. This is about young romance and trying to find your place in the world, and it capturing feelings in a moment. That's what the first film was about for me. And then when you then do another film, you inevitably then have to take them on as characters, and to me, the characters themselves weren't really important. So then I'm now in this film, and I'm going. So it is about the characters then.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're wrong about it not being about characters in the.
No, I am not wrong about that. Right? No. If I'm wrong, it's the lens with which I'm looking at this film. Right? I am not wrong about what that first film was, because that first film, what I think it's about, is entirely about how I experience it. Right? Now, you might have experienced that first film differently. That's fine. Sure. And that different experience for you is why you look at this one maybe and you go, oh, well, this still works for me because I'm invested in those two people and I want to see how they move on. I didn't.
You didn't get invested in them in the first.
In that moment, I cared not a jot for what they did with their lives after that, because even as Jesse says, it's not about whether they met again afterwards, right? And this is kind of like, I was trying to work out, is this film self-aware? Because they make more than a couple of references to the truth, the story, what actually happens isn't really important, right? He says, for me, it was never about whether they met. That's not really important.
For his book.
He says that for his book, but Celine also says something similar to him. When she's talking about discovering people, and she's talking about it's more important about your experiences make you who you are. She talks about it from the point of view of the experiences, right? She's talking about that moment in time. There's a bit where he goes. They're talking about the Germans blowing up Paris and how they couldn't do it, and they found these sites all over. And she goes, "Is it true?" And he goes, "I don't know. I just like
nice
it.
Story.
It's just a story. I just like it, right? Whether it's true or not, we don't need to know whether it's true." I've written down a third one as well. I think where she says as well, now they've met again, they can change their memory of that night, right? And again, I'm like, but that's not. Don't do that. Don't do that, because that night as a singular experience is beautiful. It's brilliant. Don't go treading over that. Don't go treading.
I think it's beautiful and brilliant from the outside looking in. There, if you put yourself in their positions of having that capturing that moment and going like, oh my god, this person could be the one person. I've not had this experience, and they say it in the movie as well. It's like, well, you think at that age that this happens all the time. Like you get all these, and you realize actually it's only a few people you actually make that connection with, which is why I'm saying that 9 years is really important.
Look, and I'm perfectly open to the idea that you're right. I just want to be really clear on what you're right about, right? No, but seriously, I'm perfectly open to the idea that you're right, because you're looking at this through a different lens, and you're going, that one's about these feelings, this one's about these feelings and that journey, and therefore that's why it's still good. What I'm saying is, I don't think you can do the second one without stepping on the first one a bit, because the first one was such about that moment, and it was so irrelevant as to what happened next, because it's not really about them. I simply do not like that this one exists, because you inevitably take those people on a bit, and I'm like, don't do that. And they do change some things, because they clear up the ambiguity as to whether they had sex, which I really did not like, because I loved that they left that as ambiguous, because along the same themes, wasn't important. Because me as a viewer, I don't need to know that. I'm not identifying with that or whatever. And I didn't like that they cleared that up, essentially, and moved on. I don't...
But it wasn't... So if it wasn't important whether they did or they didn't, why does it matter so much that you know...
Because now I know that they did.
If it doesn't matter whether they did or
they didn't. But now you've watched that first film and you go, they had sex there. He got his way, even though she said that maybe she didn't want to do it because she wanted to keep it special and keep it pure and be all about the experience. You know, I don't... Look, and again, you can turn around and say, well, it's you doing all that. You're ruining your own enjoyment. like,
you should say that more.
Like, fine.
You do it to yourself, Carl.
Yeah, no.
You do.
100%.
That's what really hurts.
Yes. 100%. But that is my problem with this film, is because And I said a lot of this you could take as like production sort of directorial decisions or whatever, or indeed the decision to make the film in the first place, rather than straight up plot. I think by taking this story on, you are inevitably making it about them as people and what happened next, which I think not only isn't the point of the first film, it's certainly not what I appreciate out of the first film. You inevitably change it a little bit, you inevitably step on it a bit, you inevitably tell me that you're going to be able to watch the first one and have those same feelings as when you didn't know whether they would ever meet or not.
It certainly didn't impact it in a negative way.
And that's not the same thing, though, is it? I'm not saying that you still didn't enjoy it, but like you just simply don't have that same.
Well, it's hard to judge this far removed from initially watching it and rewatching it and everything.
Well, I'm gonna say something about the third one. I don't want to watch the third one.
Oh, you've got to watch the third.
No, I don't want to watch the third one because I don't want to know anything more about them and their sort of arc, because I've already had more than I wanted with the second one, right? And like I'm genuinely worried that then it'll change it even more for me. It'll become something completely different.
But if you're not attached to the characters from the first movie, why is it?
No, I didn't say. Well, I mean, I might have said that, but that's not exactly what I mean. I'm not attached to what the characters do next because I don't think it's important to what they did in the moment.
Okay. Regardless,
we still got to talk about this film. So.
Yeah. So a couple of things that you said, I guess, about why this film needs to even exist in a way of what's its purpose. I guess is, for me, it's doing something completely different and exploring something completely different in a different part of your life. And when you come to see the third one, like, I think you're like, I do think.
Oh, don't say that. Look, I've just thrown out there that I don't want to watch it, and it's true I don't want to watch it. Am I really going to be able to resist the fucking temptation because it exists? I don't know. Right, I'm really annoyed about it.
Yeah, it does explore it explores a third portion of life that you'll recognise as well, right? But anyway,
let me.
I can't pick up on the thread that I was having, so we'll move on.
Well, let me put something else to you that I again really liked about the first one. I very much enjoyed. I enjoyed this with a lot of films as well. The first one does a good job of leaning into or sort of even creating nostalgia. Like, even if you can't directly identify it, right? Because I don't know about you, but I can't say I've ever been wandering around the city, a European city on a night, talking to some randomer all night or whatever.
Yeah, and the only time I had sex in the park, I had to pay for it.
Was he any good? But it does for all the reasons we talked about in production, it does a really good job of being such a sort of an immersive experience, right? And what a memory that would be. I think I wrote this in my review of the first one. I was like, what a night that would be. And like, it's not my memory, but I wish it was. It was great, right? Yeah. It also has a natural advantage, that first film, of being a bit of a glimpse back in time. Now, if you do this film today, it's very different. Right?
Give me a number.
Yeah, sure. Give me a number. I'll just Google you. Or I could probably totally get some CCTV from somewhere at some point. Totally different.
It wouldn't be possible.
It wouldn't, and that obviously gives it a really, again, nice sort of romantic sort of throwback vibe to the whole thing. We are lacking that a little bit in this one because time has moved on a little bit. But you know, I like I say, I love that sort of that nostalgic element about that first one. And again, one of the things I really like about that first one is the youthfulness of it all and the sort of the awkward flirting. And they have these very sincere held worldviews, but they're a little bit cynical, but they're not overly cynical because they sort of think they know it, but it never actually gets in the way of them listening to the other person and all the rest of it.
And that's why I like what they did with some of the things in this movie, right? So Before Sunrise, like Celine says she believes in reincarnation, right? Mm-hmm. And in this one, Jessie brings it up and she says, no, it's silly.
Yeah, like she's moved on a bit, but it's astrology now.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's like, it's showing how you can change in those 9 years. inherently you're still the same person, but like so many different parts of you have impacted. So even the ability for them to actually still have that connection, that length of time later after not having seen each other, it shows how powerful that and the impact that night has had on them. One thing I do want to push on, so we don't go around in circles, but one thing I loved about this was how morally conflicted I was as the film progressed. So you kind of, well, I wanted them to. You kind of want them to end up together, right? Once you've seen that, okay, this is the first time they're meeting, and then you find out, okay, well, they didn't meet up then, and yada yada. You find out the reasons why, whether that's good or bad, whatever. And you kind of go, oh, this is it. This is their chance to do it. And then you find out more and more about them. Oh, he's married with a kid. Oh shit. It's like she's with someone else as well. Oh, you're like, oh shit. Should they? Well, should they? Like, regardless, morally and stuff. Should they get together? He's got his own responsibilities. He's got his own commitments and everything like that. So it's like, well, should they even do it? But then you go more and you go like, oh my god, they're just like how well they fit together. And then as it progresses, it almost seems like it's going to become inevitable, at least another fling or whatever. And you think, well, if it's just leaning towards that, and then he's going to go back, well, that's not great, is it? That's just like going back to your nostalgia again and going like, oh, let's go fuck the French girl that I fucked 9 years ago. And, you know, potentially breaking up a family and impacting a 4-year-old's life dramatically. It's like I was thinking, going like, I don't know.
I've got a thing about this. I've got to know about this. Let me jump in on that. And again, this comes back to you were probably right. I'm probably looking at this film through the wrong lens, because I actually didn't get much of that conflict. I said before when we were talking about Delpy, especially, I didn't manage to be dragged in enough by sort of the way she was conflicted, the way she'd moved on in Australia. And the note I had was, look, I don't think this moves their story on a bit, like their romance. I don't think it moves it on much. Now, if you're looking at it differently, or you go, well, there's a different film. It's not about their romance. It's about where they are in their next stage of their life, or whatever. I actually wrote down, now that would be a much more interesting film, right? I think it'd be an altogether bleaker film, because they touch on essentially their lives have not panned out. How they thought at all, right? And I was like, that would be the interesting film to make. But personally, I didn't think there was enough there of that. Now, it sounds like you're sort of saying, well, you think there was.
Oh, yeah. And
it didn't land for me, that's the thing. So I guess you could resolve me. I'm down into two problems. One, I sort of didn't like how it didn't leave my baby alone in the first one. And then the second one is what it was doing, I guess, just didn't land for me, really.
And I think there's that parallel again, just picking up on that point from the first one. So there's a story that Jesse says about his parents and how they got together because his mum got pregnant, but they should have broken up and been divorced years ago. And essentially the situation that he's ended up in is that he's ended up getting married and had an unexpected pregnancy and that he's generally not happy, and it's probably leading the same way as well. So he's kind of, from that first film, he's looked at his parents and gone like, oh, Jesus, right, Christ, come on. And now he's essentially ended up in the same situation.
Yeah, he's not quite as bleak as that, though, because he says, the things that everybody says love is, I felt all of that. So it seems like it's not all sort of doom and gloom on his part. What he laments is the fact that children have come along and got in the way, as they can do, and they bring their own pressures and stresses. And he goes, now I'm just sharing a bed with the person I used to do all those things with, or something like that. So he's not entirely bleak about it.
But I think he becomes more, they both become increasingly honest, right, as the film goes on. So what starts off, I think that develops more to...
She's quicker than he is, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, they do it, they come at different paces. And I think when it's the car ride, right, to her apartment, where basically they both start to be almost completely honest, and they're both kind of like breaking down. I think it's the best piece of acting where both of them, they're kind of talking, they're not looking at each other, and both of them, one of them reaches out and almost like strokes the hair, but then like pulls back.
Pulls his hand back,
but then she does the same thing as well. And
Philippe couldn't give a fuck, by the way.
She's
like,
like,
stop
wherever you want,
talking to me. Yeah, no,
you almost imagine him like smoking a spliff in the front, just like, whatever, man.
Yeah,
or in French. But I thought that car ride scene was just immense, and ramping up to the last to the ending and the last line as well. Granted, it was the way that she's delivered it, doing her Nina Simone impression is a bit odd, but just the last line is still it ends again on an ambiguous note, right? Are you going to miss your flight? Yeah.
It's interesting. You think that's a bit odd?
What, the Nina Simone thing?
Yeah.
You don't think it's a bit odd?
No, I don't think it's a bit odd. So look again. Allow me to repeat myself. I didn't. The car ride scene didn't land with me at all. And again, this is probably a product of the fact that you're seeing it maybe for what it actually is, and I'm watching it through a lens of, oh fuck, I wish this didn't exist, because I loved where it was left before and what that was about. So yeah, that didn't land with me at all. For me, actually, the Nina Simone bit is so much more in step with the first one, because this is harking back so much to the sort of the awkward flirting. And the sort of the real sincere yet sort of almost like childlike connection between them or whatever. And they're just, she's sort of giggling and she's...
I think it's because it came after the song, the waltz performance thing, right? It almost like she seemed to transform into this weird, like, performative mode, which maybe felt in step with, as you say, in the first film, but not where she's been in this one. So maybe that's true though. Maybe she's not regressing, but the connection that they've got, and it's sort of taken her back to that pure, more innocent, playful.
Well, I don't know how much of this isn't to do with the fact that, because I didn't like her turnaround at all, not at all. Fucking, I don't dislike the film. I'm ambivalent about it. I just don't bloody love it.
You have to keep
reminding
yourself.
It's all silly, like it's silly. I didn't really. It did grate on me a little bit, a turnaround. I didn't quite back. But again, I come back to like, is this just the whole thing's just a bit rushed with her? This film, and it just needed a bit more room to breathe and be a bit more believable. I don't know, and then maybe that you can believe that she's come through a sort of process, an arc, whatever, and then she's gone, I'm just going to have some fun now. I've got all that out. I'm just going to have some fun now. We're going to have a nice moment. Or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, no, I can't say we saw it the same way, because I just didn't.
Have you got any plot changes that you haven't already mentioned?
Well, I mean, it's similar to the production. I feel like it would be better if it went slower, and I feel like it would be better if it went deeper into the failed goals / inevitable inability to match up to that first night. And in a way, that brings me on to the main thing I would change, because it was inevitable, right, in quote-unquote real life, when you have a night like that, it's inevitable that that's not going to be the blueprint for your life. Yeah. It's crazy, right? Similarly, this film has an impossible task for following something like that up. Appreciate you still finding the things you like out of the film. My main change, honestly, I wish it didn't exist. I wish they did not make the film. And I fucking hate there's a third out there that I'm really
definitely going to watch soon.
Please watch it.
Just as an experiment.
No, I don't know. Because you have to remember, I really like the first one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But I definitely don't like this one. And I resent what it's doing to the first one.
All right, let's move on to This Is Why You're Wrong. So this is our closing statement from each of us. So I shall go first. As spoiler, you ain't moved my needle, son.
Son.
So I've got nothing new. I've got nothing new to say about it.
Fucking rinse and repeat that statement.
Well, yeah, indeed. I think it's clear the two different points you come to. I agree with what you've said. Right, the first film could have stood alone on its own, and the 2 sequels could not have been there, and I would have been perfectly happy with that. Now that they do exist, though, I am glad that they do exist. I think it adds a level of depth and progression to that. Now, granted, I did not watch these films 9 years apart, and in that way, they were very much watched once they were all available.
Oh, do you wish you would have done that? How exciting would that have been?
I don't know. Would I have even remembered? That's the thing. Like, no, I'd be a very different person. 9 years. Definitely a 5-star film. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have remembered. You'd like, oh, the sequel to this is coming out.
So, I mean, I think this is one of those rare movies. This is not as good as the first one. Like, I'll admit it, but it's still really great. Unfortunately, it can't stand on its own because inherently
it'd be tough, wouldn't it?
Yeah, inherently, it's if you watch this without watching the first one, you'd be like, "What the fucking what?" Like, even with a bit of exposition up front, right? So, still love this film. I do see your perspective you come from, and I get that it just the fact that it exists on its own could turn some people off, because it does answer questions which were left unsaid and unanswered, and the ambiguity is therefore no more.
Love a bit of ambiguity.
Sexually.
Look, there's only one place where you are wrong, and that is in you trying to tell me what I felt the first movie was about. Thank you very much. That's very much my experience. For me, fuck off.
That was the most offensive and angry you got at any point in these series of podcasts.
Look, you have your own experience.
I can only see your eyes, but they were full of hate.
You have your own experience. That's up to you. Don't fucking tell me what mine was. Yeah, look, so with regards to this movie, we clearly watched this movie through a different lens. And that's fine. I don't think it is as good as the first one on a sort of technical level anyway, because I think it is a bit more rushed and it doesn't quite have as many nice moments. For me, the most beautiful thing about that first one was that fleeting experience and, that youthful sort of outlook and everything, and then to take that on is to go, oh, don't take it on, because it's never going to go like that. It's never going to be that good. That's silly, and it's not, So I sort of just wish it doesn't exist. I mean, if you still find something to really enjoy about it, fair enough. But yeah, it's not for me, I've got to say. That being said, I don't dislike it. It's still a really well executed film. I just kind of wish it didn't exist.
I feel the same way about you.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, let's move on to the last section of the podcast today, the data section. So, as we always do, starting off with some ratings. So, 8.1 on IMDb.
What's the first one?
I don't know. So the Letterboxd is 4.3, which is the same as the first one.
Wow.
Let me just double check that. The Metacritic, very high, 91. I've moved away from my thing. Yeah, 91 Metascore. So critically loved, Letterboxd loved, IMDb. It's pretty high. There's higher on there. It's a 4.5 for me, so it loses just the half from the 5-star Before Sunrise. IMDb 8.1 for Before Sunrise, so same again. So yeah, there's that. What about you, Carl? Where's it sitting on your Letterboxd score?
Mine's 2.5, which is possibly harsh because do I think it's that quote unquote bad compared to the first one? Is it really just a middle of the line film? Maybe it's better than that, and I just don't like it.
It's almost it's because you love the first one so much. I think you always mark this one down, right? Because it's almost impacting your enjoyment of the first one as well. So.
And I do try to disconnect, whether I like it and whether I think it's any good. Yeah. But so yeah, maybe it's a little harsh, but yes, 2.5.
Yeah, just from the filmmaking alone. I know we don't rate in that way, but if you were to be rating it
just
from
the filmmaking alone, look, I mean, I don't think it is quite as good as the first one on that score. Yeah, it's going to be high. Just if you were just doing that alone,
just give it a 2.75 and just make up your own scale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do I think the story, which is part of filmmaking, is all that good? I can't say quite hit the spot with it. Yeah, it's possibly harsh, but
we didn't realise what we did. We didn't actually say, did I move your needle before?
Oh no.
Yeah, fuck.
Sorry.
I had high hopes. Maybe when you watch the third one.
No, honestly, it was a tough gig because, you know, when you were saying about you are so ridiculously ambivalent about something.
Oh yeah.
You almost like I
struggle to even form.
Yeah.
Anything. Yeah.
It's besides I sort of wish it didn't exist. When you actually look at it, it was a tough ask.
Awards wise, only the one Oscar nomination for the adapted screenplay.
The one that should not be.
Didn't win. No acting nominations though. It's just I find it.
Yeah. Now, come on, let's have a laugh. Oh. We know we like a bit of live googling. Let's have a laugh at what else was nominated this year.
Right. First off,
because 2004. Come on, that's your favourite fucking film, mate.
Second favourite.
No, yeah, second favourite film. Yeah. Because I mean, yeah, it'll be a joke. I mean, we almost needn't do this because whatever films you say, I'm just going to go, well, that's a sick joke. No. That's a sick joke.
Okay, so, this was the year of $1 Million Baby for Best Motion Picture. So, actor in lead role, Jamie Foxx for Ray, Clint Eastwood, $1 Million Baby. Don Cheadle, Hotel Rwanda. Johnny Depp, Finding Neverland. And Leonardo DiCaprio for The Aviator. And for the actress Hilary Swank, $1 Million Baby. I mean, that is deserved. That's a fantastic performance. Annette Bening being Julia. Catalina Sandino Moreno for Maria Full of Grace. What? Never even heard of that. Imelda Staunton, Vera Drake, and Kate Winslet, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, I've honestly not seen a lot of those, so it's difficult to comment.
Yeah. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
Ooh, that's coming up on my list later. Tease for 12 seconds later.
Yes.
But anyway, rewatchability, Carl.
Oh, no.
Infinitely. Very yes.
Yeah.
For me?
I'm not a very no, but I'm a no.
Best scene for you?
Well, so I did like the last scene, the Nina Simone scene, because I think that was the one that got closest to recapturing the sort of essence of the first film, that sort of childish connection, that romance, that sort of vulnerable connection.
Mine is in the car on the way to Celine's apartment. I thought that was just a beautiful, beautiful scene, and just the way that it was acted, and
yeah, sure,
fantastic. All right, what about best quote, Carl? What's yours?
Look, same piece of the film. You're going to miss that plane. I know.
Baby, you're going to miss that plane.
Oh, I don't include the baby. Fucking hell.
Baby, you're going to miss that plane. Yeah. I know. Do you find that ambivalent? Not ambivalent. Ambiguous.
Well, I'm generally ambivalent. Well, I don't think about what's going to happen next, in so much as I didn't think, because you were talking a bit about like, should they be getting together? He's married. How that's going? Is it just going to be a fling? Is it going to be? I just like leaving that there for what it meant in that moment, in that he just wanted to spend some more time with her, and that was enough.
So your mind doesn't automatically.
It doesn't. No, like so. Have you seen Anatomy of a Fall?
No, not yet. It's on the list.
I can't.
I do need to watch it.
Can I say?
Pause that thought.
Okay, I can't say without a spoiler. A spoiler alert. Okay.
Someone falls.
On the. Let's try keep it current on this. The first film. Did I ever think what happened next? No, I genuinely have no opinion.
Would they?
Genuinely have no opinion on what.
Well, no, not opinion. It's just like
I didn't think about it. I didn't think I would have met about it. I was so happy to leave that where it was and appreciate everything for what it was in that moment, which I thought was the point of the film.
So you didn't write like a fan fiction?
No, I certainly didn't. No, I certainly didn't. Similarly with this, I love that scene because it captures, I thought, that lovely childish flirting, earnest connection again. And then he says that moment, which I just think is a beautiful, I'm not interested in going for the plane when you're here.
Yeah.
And I'd love to leave it there. I love ambiguity.
And ambivalence.
And ambivalence.
Apparently.
Sometimes.
Favourite character? Philippe?
Yeah, well, I thought about putting Philippe down for a joke. No, so Jesse. So, look, Jesse's a hopeful romantic. He has flashes of youthful cynicism and that sort of know-it-all quality. But I love that he never lets that get in the way of an opposing viewpoint or his own sort of happiness or whatever. He's constantly ribbing her about stuff, and then, but it's fine that you think something different. I don't mind that.
I literally knew you were going to go Jesse, so I just went Celine.
Yeah, good. Why? You didn't prepare anything?
In this, no. In this one, did you not seen the third one?
No.
But in this one, I think.
I think you're way off being talking about the third one when we're not doing that film.
I thought you might have watched it.
No,
That was all. I thought you might have done it as part of the preparation. Never mind, doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm going to go Celine, but quite frankly, I love them both. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult to split them. Well, there's only 2 characters in a movie.
Yeah, it's like
Best
character. Equal screen time. Equal.
Yeah.
Tearjerker. Did you
listen,
jerk
right.
some
So,
tears?
right. My official rating for this is meh. Right. It is very difficult. It's like at the very top end of meh, because it's very difficult when you watch that last scene to then not think about the first film, sort of thing. Now, the first film, definitely a tearjerker. I think I'm gonna have to say meh for this one though, but it was close on that last scene.
So weirdly, it's a no. It's a no for me with the tearjerker, which is not
You're
to
going,
say
no,
it was
not even a meh. You're like a no.
Well, I didn't cry. I mean, it's like it's difficult with a meh. What it did, it's like kind of. It's
I
kind
don't
of.
know. It's like
So was there liquid coming out of your eyes? Yes or no?
Could just be the dust. What's this?
Allergies.
I genuinely have a problem with my right eye. It's very sensitive to things like dust and what have you. Also, changing light. So sometimes it'll just start watering, right? Now, when you're watching a film, if you've got lights off, it's terrible. Because, when a scene changes on the telly and suddenly the room might fill with light. And sometimes my eyes start when I'm like, oh, Christ.
Carl, it's Fast and the Furious 5, for the Christ's sake. What are you crying about?
No, it's not that. And it will not fucking stop suddenly. And then the other thing as well, what that means is, if I'm ever actually a little bit emotional because the film's going on, that eye will start going way earlier than it should. So oh, for God's sake, not now.
Very good. So yeah, I'm saying no. Jerker, gratuitous nudity. I mean, it's a very no, very no, right?
Very no, yeah, very no.
Very much,
very no as well, yeah.
They're very much clothed.
Yeah.
And in public, the vast majority of the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we move on to a couple of top threes, chosen by Carl this week.
Blaming me, right? Okay.
Difficult. Well, I struggled with this one, so I was like, well...
Say difficult. One of them's straight down the line.
No, difficult to pick.
You think?
Well, which one? Which one are you thinking? Which one do you want to go with?
I thought the romance one would be fairly straightforward.
Okay, go for it. What's your top 3 romance? I realise I've actually just listed loads of films. I need to actually pick my top 3. Hold on.
Yeah, well, I listed a few.
One would be weird.
I got some honourable mentions.
Go on then. Number 1, Before Sunrise.
Yeah, number 1 is Before Sunrise.
Yeah.
Number 1 is Before Sunrise. And I'm going to take the opportunity again to say how much I really like that film.
Yeah. I mean, for Christ's sake, people, like, firstly, if you're listening to this and you've not seen Before Sunrise, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Just for God's sake.
It's like an hour
Spoilers,
and 45
people, for fuck's sake.
It's like an hour and 45 minutes, and this is a sequel. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And secondly, just watch that film. Jesus, it's so good. Unless you're Carl's wife, in which case.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, she's dead. It's fine. Yep, that's that.
That's one.
Do you think you could guess my second, though?
Well, I was listing mine, and I don't think any of them will appear on your list. So...
I can promise you will never guess my third.
Oh, second one.
Well, look, let me give you my honourable mentions, and then maybe by process of
elimination. This is a very odd order. First honourable mentions.
My first honourable mentions, and a lot of these are of the sort of the rom-com vibe.
Well, you see, I tried to avoid rom-com because we were like, romance, you see.
The problem I've got is I've just not watched a lot of straight-up romances.
Yeah.
Number 1 romance, when you Google it, do you know what comes up on the top of most lists?
Titanic?
No, Casablanca.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that. It's not in my top 3.
No. It was fine. It's decent enough, right?
It's fine.
But
no, my honourable mentions are You've Got Mail.
You've Got Mail? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So not Sleepless in Seattle.
No.
But You've Got Mail.
Yeah, You've Got Mail.
Have you seen Sleepless in Seattle?
Oh, a long time ago. I honestly can't.
I saw it quite
say
recently.
The opinions on it.
Saw it.
The Holiday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Jack Black, Cameron Diaz
Christmas
thing.
in
Oh,
it,
you
mate.
fucking... You and Christmas.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Get a room.
2 Weeks' Notice.
Wait. I know there's one. Who's in that one?
Hugh Grant, Sandra Bullock.
Oh, no.
Hugh Grant in a very
is he in
fun
Is he in
role.
full floppy head mode?
No, he's in bit of... You know, like the character who plays in Bridget Jones?
Yeah.
Bit of an arsehole, but not fully.
Yeah.
He's not fully there, but he's in a bit of that mode.
Mm-hmm.
He's fun.
So these still honourable mentions?
These honourable mentions.
Okay, cool.
Then this one would have been third, but for what I put in, and you're definitely going to say I'm not allowed my third.
Why is it not a film?
The Mexican. It's not feature length, mate. No, the Mexican
with Brad Pitt and Julia Roberts.
And Julie Roberts, yeah.
Interesting.
Jimmy Gandolfini as well.
Is that a romance?
Yeah. It's a romance, yeah.
Why do I remember that as being like not an action, but
it's a really fun film.
Actiony things.
It's a really fun film.
There's actiony things going on, right?
Yeah. It's just it's a fun film that
very much left no impression on me when I watched that. I can't remember.
I like it. Looks great as well. Anyway,
Brad Pitt and Julia Roberts in it.
No, not because of that. You pervert. No, my number 2. Maybe you won't let me have this either. Midnight in Paris.
No, that's fine.
Okay, right. Okay.
Why would never?
That's. I thought you might have guessed that.
No, I didn't really think of that one. No.
I really liked that.
Yeah, I did like that one. Sorry. Yeah.
I thought that was lots of fun. No, my third, which you will never get.
It's got the great actress Rachel McAdams in it, right?
No. Do you know who this has got in it? My third, Brad Pitt.
Fucking hell! I'm surprised it wasn't Leo. Brad Pitt, Meet Joe Black.
No. You're just going to say, and you know,
Benjamin Button.
A lot of people are going to agree.
Bullet Train.
Say that's not a romance. And I'm going to say,
is it a bromance?
You are wrong.
Moneyball.
Yes.
Fuck off.
It's Moneyball.
How is that romance?
Well, what is Moneyball? Because I'll tell you what it is. What it 100%
not a sports
is.
Movie.
Not a sports movie.
No. I don't know. But is there even a romance thing in it? I can't even remember.
Here's why I think
need to watch it again because I really enjoyed it.
Because whether people realise it or not, right? Whether they realise this is the reason they're enjoying it, this is about a person's commitment to an idea and a sports team, right? And it is about the romance of following a sports team.
I like it.
And so some people will be able to identify with this. Some people won't, right?
Yeah, fever pitch.
But following a sports team inherently is very romantic. It's a very romantic pursuit.
Maybe
how a team plays, how it presents itself, is very important to people. If it wasn't, we'd all support the same team. We'd just go support the winners. You don't. Whether they exist or not, you try find reasons to love a team, right? You try find reasons to identify and love with the team, and it hurts. Like if you really follow a team, it really hurts when it goes wrong. Mm-hmm. Now the flip side of that is when it goes right. It is pretty unbridled, right? And Moneyball is such a good film because it captures the romance of sport like no other film I've seen.
Definitely on my rewatching list.
So, okay, romance between man and a woman? Sure. No.
No, that's fine. I'll allow
romantic,
that. That's fine.
100% Moneyball.
That's much better than a shitty rom-com. Well done.
Yeah.
Good choice. All right.
What about yours?
Before Sunrise, number 1.
Yep.
Done. Then...
So Midnight in Paris is not making the cut.
It's not, no. So I've got honourable mentions.
Yeah.
Honourable mentions. The Apartment, which I know you've seen, liked, didn't love.
Good film, though.
Yeah, good film. Before Midnight. 500 Days of Summer.
Before Midnight makes it in, before...
No, this is just the
these
honourable
are,
mentions.
Right, okay.
500 Days of Summer.
Yeah.
Amelie.
Yeah.
You seen Amelie?
No, I've not seen it.
Oh, you should watch Amelie.
I could see me liking it.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I could see
and then A Star Is Born is my other honourable mention. The Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga.
Oh, no chance I'll like that.
Mate, seriously.
No.
Ridiculous how much I like that film. I'm ashamed of myself. I don't care. I've seen it a couple of times and just all the tears. Just liquid coming out of everything.
Yeah.
But
you didn't even have to wear a fake nose in this one.
The top 3 is Before Sunrise, number 1.
Yep.
Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, which I mentioned. And WALL-E.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, love between two robots.
Need to rewatch WALL-E.
It's very good.
Yeah, I mean, look.
I think you'd get a lot out of it, I think, yeah.
I believe you, because some of those Disney films are fantastic on that sort of front. I really liked Coco. Have you seen that one?
Yes. Yeah.
I thought it was
Mexican-y, Day of the Dead-y stuff. Yeah, very good.
Wonderful, that. So
yeah, beautiful to look at.
Fair enough.
All right, let's crack through this one quickly. Movies that are set in a single day. Top 3 movies that are set in a single day. Quite a lot of movies are set in a single day.
Fucking loads, mate.
Yeah.
It's obviously Die Hard 1, 2 and 3.
Oh, you fucker.
No, they were my honourable mentions.
I've got Die Hard in mine. Die Hard is there.
No.
It's a 5-star film, Die Hard.
I don't know if it's a 5-star film, but I really like Die Hard 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, 4 and 5, we won't talk about those. Boiling Point, have you seen that?
No.
Stephen Graham. It's a genuine one-shot.
Yeah,
second longest one-shot
with
film
the
in
kitchen,
history. Really good film. Doesn't quite make my thing. Dog Day Afternoon. Really good film. Doesn't quite make my pick.
I need to watch that's on my watch list. I've not seen it. It's a right hole. I need to
really
need to watch it.
good film.
Because that's young Al Pacino as well, isn't
Young Al Pacino, John Cazale, who's just
definitely need to get that
excellent.
watched. That's a real gap.
My number 3, Before Sunrise.
Yeah.
My number 2, Dunkirk.
Ooh, should have known there'd be a Nolan.
And my number 1.
12 Angry Men.
12 Angry Men.
Yeah, that's my number 1 as well.
12 Angry Men.
Yeah, 12 Angry Men, Die Hard, Before Sunrise.
Yeah, fair enough. Ooh, 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
2 out of 3.
And honourable mention for Breakfast Club and Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yeah, I did think you might put Glengarry Glen Ross in there.
I thought Glengarry Glen Ross would be on yours.
Oh, it's not. No, it's not that high. It's good. It's good, but it's not high.
So there we go. You got anything else for us, Carl?
No.
All
Do
right.
your joke.
That's... Oh, you ruined it. Fine. Well, that's all we've got. If we moved the needle for you, if we didn't, please get in touch with us by email, whatever, Twitter, Instagram, all of that stuff. So for me and Carl, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.
Right. Well, all this talk of first love has got me conflicted, right? So I'm going to go for it. So, if you're out there, and if you're listening to this, just know the only reason I started this podcast was so that you would hear this and come running to me and we'd live happily ever after. So this one is for you, animated bunny from the Cadbury's Caramel advert.
She was a bit of a looker, to be fair.